The crusader of medical education reforms in the country, Dr. Govinda Kesi, has warned of waging another round of strike, demanding that the affiliation provided by CTEVT to different health institutions, seat allocation and admission process need to be scrapped. Dr. Kesi has given a mid-August deadline to correct the government decision, citing that efforts are underway to topple the Medical Education Act. Dr. Kesi has also urged the government to implement the past agreements signed with him for medical reforms. Good evening, I'm Abhyuday Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. Main opposition CPN-UML not to allow the House session to proceed unless a high-level committee is formed to probe the latest case of gold smuggling. The House adjourned till 1 p.m. tomorrow. Dr. Govinda Kesi warns of waging another round of strike, alleging that efforts are on to topple the Medical Education Act, to begin strike from 14th of August if his demands not implemented. A constable with India's Railway Protection Force shoots dead 4 people on a train near the city of Mumbai. The victims comprise a senior RPF official and 3 passengers. And Japan send out World Cup warning with a crushing 4-0 victory over Spain. Zambia defeat Costa Rica to avoid a pointless exit. Australia also thumped Canada 4-0. The House of Representatives session called for today has been adjourned till tomorrow after main opposition CPN-UML warned of continuing obstruction at the lower house until a high-level committee was formed to probe into the recent gold scandal. General Secretary of the Federal Parliament Bharatraj Gautam, following a directive from Speaker Devraj Ghimire, informed that the session had been adjourned. Earlier, CPN-UML had informed the Speaker it would encircle the rostrum and obstruct session until the committee was formed. Speaker Ghimire has, however, already held a meeting with leaders at the Parliament to support for the resumption of the House session. Speaker Ghimire has also held consultations with Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister Narayan Kaji Shrestha. Speaker Ghimire was compelled to adjourn the session at the lack of positive feedback from CPN-UML. Earlier today, Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal had also held a discussion with UML Chair KP Sharma Oli in line with the House obstructions. During the meeting, Oli had remained firm with his party's stand. Following his unsuccessful meeting with Oli, Premier Dahal had held consultations with chief whips of other parties at the Parliament. During the meeting, Premier Dahal took stock of the progress in formulating laws related to transitional justice. The chief whips, meanwhile, informed the Premier that the subcommittee formed by the Parliament's Justice, Laws and Human Rights Committee had concluded deliberations on the laws and was preparing its report. They had also drawn the Premier's attention towards the delay in appointing parliamentary committee chairs, saying it had affected overall efficiency. Crusader for reforms in medical education, Dr. Govinda Kesi has announced of another round of strike, citing that efforts are being made to scrap the provision of Medical Education Act. Organizing a press meet in Kathmandu today, Dr. Kesi announced of starting what he said a satyagraha from 14th of August next month. Dr. Kesi stated that an organized effort is being carried out to weaken the Medical Education Commission and topple the Medical Education Act. He has demanded that the affiliation provided by CTEVT to various health institutions, seat allocation and admission process need to be scrapped. Dr. Kesi has also urged the government to implement the agreements reached between him and the government. He has said that he would start the strike from 14th of August if his demands are not met. It may be recalled that Dr. Kesi has waged numerous rounds of hunger strikes to put pressure on the government for medical reforms. Ruling party CPN Maoist Center will be broadcasting live its Central Committee meeting, which is scheduled to start from this Wednesday. Party Secretary Ganesh Shah informed that today's office bearers meeting held at the Prime Minister's official residence in Balwatar decided to broadcast the proceedings of the Central Committee meeting live through the party's official Facebook page. On the first day of the Central Committee meeting, Prime Minister and Party Chairperson Pushpa Kamal Dahal is scheduled to speak on contemporary issues, then political and organizational reports will be presented. The party has allotted its members 5 minutes to speak at the Central Committee meeting. CPN Maoist Center has also decided to dispatch its central members to municipalities and wards for the 3-month party improving campaign. The party is making preparations to hold its statute convention this November after the 3-month campaign ends. CPN Maoist Center currently has 404 full central members and more than 200 alternative central members. CPN Maoist Center's Central Committee meeting is scheduled to kick off this Wednesday at 1 p.m. at the Nepal Academy in Kamladi, Kathmandu. Ministers without portfolios of Madhya Province Basanta Kumar Kushwaha and State Minister Sanjay Kumar Yadav have tendered their resignation. The two ministers without portfolios resigned after Janmat Party demanded their resignation. After Govinda Prasad Neopane of CPN Unified Socialist was given the responsibility of the Ministry of Land Management, Agriculture and Cooperative, Kushwaha was made a minister without portfolio. Minister for Education and Social Welfare in Madhya Province, Mahesh Prasad Yadav, informed that the meeting of the ruling alliance parties held until late last night agreed to hand one more ministry to Nepali Congress, which has been handling 2 ministries, and provide one more ministry to Janmat Party, which had been carrying out the responsibility of 1 ministry. We'll take a short break here. We have more news coming up. The representatives of contractor companies today demonstrated in front of the Prime Minister's official residence in Balwatar. The representatives of contractor companies donned safety helmets and jackets as they picketed outside the Prime Minister's official residence, demanding an additional deadline to the under-construction projects and timely payments. The contractor companies have remained agitated with their 9-point demands. They have said that they would continue to strike in front of the Prime Minister's official residence until their demands are met. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question. Why has the government attempt at putting a ban on plastic bags with less than 40 micron width not succeeded? Your options are A, poor implementation, B, no alternative, and C, lack of awareness. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. It's time now for the international updates. A constable with India's Railway Protection Force, RPF, has been arrested after he shot dead 4 people on a train near the city of Mumbai. Police said the accused, Chetan Kumar, killed a senior RPF official and 3 passengers. They said they are investigating his motive and trying to identify the dead passengers. RPF personnel are tasked with the protection of railway passengers and property in India. The shooting took place at around 5:30 a.m. local time on a train traveling from Jaipur in the western state of Rajasthan towards Mumbai city in Maharashtra. According to an RPF statement, Kumar first opened fire on Tikaram Meena, an assistant sub-inspector with the RPF, before shooting 3 other passengers. The incident occurred just after the train passed the town of Palghar, around 96 kilometers from the state capital, Mumbai. Kumar then pulled the in-house alarm chain used to stop trains in case of emergencies and tried to escape, according to a statement from the Western Railways. He was arrested in the outskirts of Mumbai. A top official of the Western Railways told reporters that there didn't seem to be any argument between Kumar and others before the shooting. Twin Russian missile strikes on the city center of Kyiv in southern Ukraine killed at least 2 people today, and more were trapped under rubble. Smoke billowed from a gaping hole smashed in the side of a 9-story building, while another 4-story building had been almost leveled in a video posted by President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky, who grew up in the steel-producing city that had a pre-war population of more than 600,000, said the strikes had hit a university building and a residential building. Henan, Gansu, and Shandong provinces have been lashed by heavy rainfall over the weekend as the remnants of Typhoon Doksuri caused water levels to rise and streets to flood. Images shown on CCTV showed a mountain road continuously crumbling as floodwater rushed against it. Emergency personnel created a rope bridge to evacuate 2 trapped workers. Doksuri is one of the strongest storms to hit China in years and caused widespread flooding over the weekend in the southern province of Fujian, driving hundreds of thousands of people from their homes. While Doksuri continues to taper off, forecasters warned that Typhoon Kanun was approaching and was set to strike China's densely populated coast this week. A Japanese professor has revealed a series of crimes committed by Unit 731, a notorious branch of the Imperial Japanese Army that conducted lethal experiments on live people from China and other countries during World War II as it sought to develop chemical and biological weapons. Nishiyama Katsuo, an 81-year-old emeritus professor at Shinga University of Medical Science in Japan, has spent more than 20 years collecting evidence of the crimes committed by Unit 731. As a medical worker, he came into contact with records of these crimes in the late 20th century and has since made it his mission to uncover the truth about Japan's crimes in the 1930s and 1940s. Through extensive investigation of historical records, Nishiyama has found irrefutable evidence of Unit 731's atrocities in China, including the development and use of biological weapons, as well as the torture and killing of soldiers and civilians captured by Japanese aggressor troops. This week, he gave a speech at the Nagasaki National Peace Memorial Hall for the atomic bomb victims in Nagano Prefecture, leaving many attendees shocked and outraged to learn about the Japanese government's attempt to conceal the crimes of Unit 731. The unit was a covert biological and chemical warfare research and development unit of the Imperial Japanese Army that engaged in lethal human experimentation and biological weapons manufacturing in China during World War II. The unit is estimated to have killed between 200,000 and 300,000 people. It was responsible for some of the most notorious war crimes committed by the Japanese aggressor troops. Experiments included disease infections, controlled dehydration, biological weapons testing, hyperbaric pressure chamber testing, vivisection, organ procurement, amputation, and standard weapons testing. Victims included not only kidnapped men, women, and children, but also babies born from the systemic rape perpetrated by the staff inside the compound. Sudanese refugees in Chad are calling for urgent shelter as relentless rain and wind has been battering their makeshift camp in Orang. Hundreds of Sudanese refugees in Chad facing elevated struggle with the extreme weather conditions and no resources or means to set up proper tents. Some refugees have been using makeshift shelters from trampoline sheets, while others bundle themselves up in blankets to stay warm. Meanwhile, more Sudanese are arriving to the Sudanese-Chadian border as the fighting continues to rage in West Darfur. Hundreds of thousands of people have fled to Chad since the conflict started over 100 days ago. 3 weeks since China increased checks on Japanese food imports over radiation concerns, Chinese businesses like sushi restaurants are already fearful for the future. Restaurants have struggled with years of COVID restrictions, which only began to ease late last year, but now they are facing a shortage of both customers and seafood ahead of Japan's plans to empty into the sea treated radioactive water from its disaster-stricken Fukushima nuclear plant. There has been extensive criticism of the Fukushima water release plan from China's foreign ministry and in Chinese state media in recent months, and this coverage surged again around the time when and after the UN nuclear watchdog said it approved of the plan. China is still Japan's biggest seafood export market, but posts and hashtags saying Japanese food is radioactive and should be boycotted are rife on Chinese social media. Japanese restaurants are taking a hit, and local businesses say customer numbers have plummeted by 90% in this case as a result. Customers in Beijing, meanwhile, said they approved of the tighter scrutiny by the Chinese government, which maintains the water release poses a threat to the environment and human health, and that if Japan goes ahead with its plan, it must bear the consequences. American director Christopher Nolan's latest film, Oppenheimer, that released last week, has been a blockbuster hit worldwide except in Japan. The film's distributor in the country, Tohotawa, has yet to announce a release date for the movie, which is about World War II scientist Robert Oppenheimer's creation of the atomic bomb that was used to destroy Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945. Most Japanese visitors to Hiroshima's atomic bomb dome and Peace Memorial Park said they had not heard about the film, which has not been advertised or sparked much debate in Japan. But when asked, most said they would watch Oppenheimer, although some expressed reservations about how those directly impacted by the bombings might feel about it. More than 150 dogs wearing colorful scarves on their necks participated alongside their owners in a race through Venezuela's capital, Caracas, yesterday morning, which was organized to seek support for animal shelters in the country. Dogs and their humans ran for 4 kilometers across eastern Caracas in the second edition of the dog running race. Under Venezuela's prolonged economic collapse, many have left pets in shelters or abandoned them on the streets. Household incomes have been hit by an annual inflation of about 400%, making it hard for pet owners to pay for the basic needs of their animals. All participants of the race paid $30 to run with their pets, aiming to give animals a good quality of life while they wait for a family. Runners interviewed on the sidelines of the race said they were happy to compete with their pets, noting such activities should be more encouraged in the city. We have more news coming up, but right now it's time for another short break. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.